Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm super excited about this episode because I got my hands on one of the most legendary 35mm or film cameras in general. I'm talking about the Nikon F3, and this is not just a legendary camera, it has a lot of personal meaning to me as well, because this is my dad's camera and a lot of my childhood photographs were taken on this exact camera. So I'm super excited to shoot a roll through this camera, see how well it still works, and kind of try to get an understanding why this camera is so legendary and answer the question, can this camera actually live up to the hype, or is it a little overhyped at the moment? Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to all the new viewers. My name is Valentin. I'm an analog photographer based here in Berlin, and I also do YouTube videos in which I'm taking you along with me on my photography trips. I'm talking about cameras like I'm doing today with the Nikon F3, but also just giving tips and tricks when it comes to analog photography. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, subscribe to the channel so you can become a part of this beautiful community. So I quickly want to talk about how I got this camera. 2 weeks ago I was on a hiking vacation with my girlfriend and her family. There will be an entire separate video just about that vacation coming pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. And then on the way back home to Berlin, I decided to spend some time with my dad, and ever since I started film photography 4.5 years ago, I knew that he had an F3. I asked him a couple of years ago, he was like, no, I kind of still want to use it. And then I asked him this time and I was like, Dad, come on, be honest with yourself, be honest with me. Are you really going to use that camera, or is it just going to sit on the shelf? We all know when the camera sits on the shelf, it doesn't improve the functioning of the camera, but rather it just gets worse and worse. He was honest with himself and with me and said, I'm not really going to be using the camera anytime soon, so you can have it, you can shoot with it, you can test it, see if everything still works. And yeah, that's the state of things right now. So I've had this camera for about 1.5 weeks. I've shot an entire roll of Kodak Gold, pushed 2 stops through the camera. I took my video camera with me, went to a local forest/park on a kind of sunny morning. It was very cold, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to test this camera and test the lenses. I have this 28mm 2.8 lens. My dad gave me this beautiful 50mm 1.2 Nikkor lens. It is pretty big and hefty. So the structure is pretty simple. I'm gonna be talking about my first impressions with the camera. How did the camera feel? Was it intuitive to use? What were the things that I thought are really nice about the camera? And also what were the things that annoyed me a little bit about the camera? So let us jump right into the first part of the video. Come with me as I'm filling the first roll in this beautiful Nikon F3. So welcome everybody. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very, very cold and we arrived on location. Today I'm shooting at this local park and we even got some sunshine coming through. I'm just gonna set up the tripod. Hopefully the audio is okay as well. Just bear with me. So there we go. I have no expectations for today and hoping that I'll see something that I find interesting. As I said, I'm shooting some Kodak Gold, rated at 800, which I haven't really done before. Let's see how this goes. I'll take you with me and I'm excited. Let's load this baby up. Camera's loaded. Should be good to go. I'm putting the ISO on 640. I'm like pushing it 2 stops, but I still want to overexpose it at least a little bit so that I don't lose all of the shadow detail. Sun is shining. Let's get going. Smile! So I just want to very quickly talk a little bit about some aspects of the camera. It's an SLR camera, so you're looking through the lens into the viewfinder. The camera is electronic. If you don't have batteries inside of here, or if the batteries die, you're not able to use the camera. But there's one mechanical shutter speed. I think it should be around 1/60th. It goes up to 1/2000th of a second, and it also has an aperture priority mode, which I will be talking about a little bit later. It is obviously an interchangeable lens camera. The Nikon F3 was Nikon's professional camera, so they are very rugged and are supposed to kind of withstand a lot of different conditions. I have a quick question for you. What are your preferred lenses? As I said, I have this 50-1.2 and the 28-2.8, and I'm thinking if I'm keeping this camera, if I'm going to use it more, to buy some more lenses. So let me know down in the comments below what your favorite Nikon lenses are. I'm not gonna go much deeper into like the technicalities of the camera, because I just want to give you my first impressions with the camera and just wanted to give you a very quick rundown of the specs of the camera. So since we already saw a couple of the photographs and scenes that I photographed, I think now is a good time to talk about the first points that I really like about this camera. First and foremost, what I realized pretty much as soon as I took the camera out of the bag is how great it is ergonomically. So you have this little, it's almost like a grip, so there you can kind of place these fingers, and then I like to put my thumb on the advance lever. That makes the camera like really nice to hold. Apart from the nice ergonomics, the button layout on the camera is really nice. So when you're looking through the viewfinder of the camera, something that I really like to use is this button right here. It is a depth of field preview lever. So my aperture stops down when I press this button. I know that some people don't really use that function a lot. I personally really love this function on cameras because it allows me to see what the actual depth of field of the image is gonna be like. So I have my index finger, I guess, on the shutter button, ready to take a photograph, and then I can just use my middle finger to like preview the depth of field. I found that that was a very intuitive kind of button layout, something that I really liked. Moreover, something that I loved about this camera and that I'm pretty much only used is the aperture priority mode. So I put the shutter speed dial just on A. So this means that the camera is gonna decide what shutter speed to use according to the aperture that you select. So let's say right now I have f2.8 selected on my camera. I'm looking through the viewfinder, focusing, half pressing the shutter button, and then there's a little kind of screen inside of the viewfinder that tells me the camera would select 1/15th of a second. Secondly, kind of connected to this point, what I really loved when I was shooting and when I was out was the fact that in the viewfinder you don't only see the shutter speed that is being used, but you also see the aperture displayed into the viewfinder. So that basically means no matter what situation, you always know what aperture you have, what shutter speed you have, and you can adjust accordingly. I know it sounds pretty basic, especially to people who do digital photography. You know, you have all of the information on the screen at all times. Because a lot of cameras that I have an M7 that only shows me the shutter speed. I always have to like take my eye off of the viewfinder, look at the lens and see, okay, you know, I selected f11 for example, whereas on this camera you have all of the information in one place, which I really liked. I just felt like this camera was very sturdy, and the second I put the batteries in, everything worked. I don't know, with some old cameras, you buy them, you open the package, you kind of try to figure out how they work. You're like, this is kind of weird, something's up. But with this camera, you know, I put it on A, put some batteries inside, attach the lens, look through the viewfinder, everything works, put some film in, shoot some pictures, they come out nice. Like, that's pretty cool, right? And like, you know, nothing's going on. The only thing that I notice is the fact that my film counter window is stuck on 40, so I don't know what shot I'm on. But apart from that, everything has worked super nicely with this camera. It's just a joy to use. It's so easy to make a photograph with this camera.
Can I tell you that?
I just want to quickly talk about some of the things I realized that I did not like so much about the camera. I mean, there's not a lot to dislike about the camera. Just the fact that it's pretty heavy and pretty bulky. I'm a person who shoots a lot of rangefinder cameras like this Leica M2. And if you compare the two, it is quite a stark difference in terms of the size of the cameras and also the weight of the cameras. Obviously, this camera has a mirror inside, so they needed to have some extra space to get that mechanism in there, whereas here's no mirror inside. I felt like this camera was pretty heavy, especially when I had the 51.2 on there. It did make the camera pretty big and pretty heavy. But you know, you have a 1.2 lens on there, so obviously that's a lot of glass inside. That's just the way it is, I guess, right? Apart from that, the only thing that I kind of dislike is the fact that it's a electronic camera, which, you know, I was talking about how easy it is to make photographs with this camera, how much I love the aperture priority mode. All of these functions wouldn't be there if it wasn't electronic. You know, I just have a soft spot in my heart for fully mechanical cameras where I know no matter what happens, I'm not relying on batteries or one shutter speed, but I can use all shutter speeds at all times. But that's how it goes, you know, you always have to make some trade-offs, and I really love the aperture priority mode on here. So I guess, you know, it's a downside, but at the same time, it comes with its benefits. Apart from that, and that is the last quote-unquote negative point, is the fact that this camera is quite expensive. This was not a negative point for me personally because I got this camera for my dad. If you're thinking about buying a camera like this one, the Nikon F3, now that they have kind of received a lot of status and people call them legendary, some of the best cameras ever built, you know, the internet is hyping them up, so the prices have gone up. The last time I checked, you're paying around $400 to $500 for a body. I think the question becomes, is this really worth it, or should you rather just buy a camera body for maybe $200, $150 and invest the rest of the money in some nice lenses? Because at the end of the day, you know, the glass really decides how the image comes out, not so much the camera that you're using. If you have been kind of lusting over an F3, you have the extra money, just go for it. Otherwise, I think it's a wise decision to pick up another body and just pick up some really good lenses. If you have any camera recommendations from Nikon or similar SLRs, also leave them down in the comments below. I'm really curious what you say. Let's put the budget around $100 to $200. So if you know any really nice SLRs, down in the comments below, please. just finished shooting the roll in this camera. It's freezing cold. I was out for about 2 hours. I just rewound the film, taking it out and gonna bring it to the lab ASAP. Finished the Kodak Gold at 640. Excited to see how the results turn out. I didn't really feel like I was making the most amazing or world-changing photographs by any means. I was more focused on just kind of trying the camera out, seeing if everything works. See you when I'm back home and I have the results so we can talk about them in a little bit. I was really happy with the photographs. As I said, I was shooting Kodak Gold. I wanted to have it pushed 2 stops. I rated it at 640, so I wanted to have it a little bit overexposed, but I think my lab only pushed it 1 stop, so that's why they are sometimes a little bit underexposed. But to be honest, I'm pretty happy with that because recently I've been shooting a lot of overexposed color negative film. You know, you get into film photography, everybody's like overexposed, overexposed, overexposed. And I have been playing around with underexposing it a little bit, or at least shooting it at bark speed, because I feel like that look is also really nice when you have some more contrast, the colors are a little bit stronger. So even in this case, I think it was a good kind of experiment and definitely a look that I'm gonna save in my brain and know when I want to have something like this, that's what I'm going for. Also, the lenses performed really well. I loved the fact that with the 28mm, I think the closest focusing you can do is 0.2 meters. It almost feels like you're doing macro photography. And as somebody who, as I said, uses a lot of rangefinder cameras, it is a really cool feeling to have the possibility to get so close. I gotta say that this camera has pretty much won me over already. Not only because of the personal connection that it was my dad's camera, but also just how easy it is to make photographs with it. I have a Canon F1 that I'm thinking about selling, maybe, and keeping this one. I'm not sure. That's it from my side. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know how it goes. It really goes a long way and supports me. Otherwise, you can also check out my website where I have a lot of my photography. You can head on over to my Instagram account, give me a follow there. That's where I'm posting like my photographs and some reels as well. Otherwise, just have a nice day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here with me in my studio in Berlin. And if you have any thoughts on the Nikon F3, if there are things that I didn't mention, I'm sure that there's plenty of things that I forgot to mention. Leave them down in the comments below. Otherwise, take care and have a good one. Bye bye.